other different types of dementia, and depending upon where the difficulties lie, that in the illness determines the course of treatment.
Yes, you can. All you have to do is want to do it.
Yes.
Want to be it.
When you set your mind to it, and this is who you are, and
the grown men. We have the youth that we need to mentor, and we need to inspire, and we need to motivate. But I know, as a recent conversation between you and I, that you're also in the business of motivating grown men. Through that, I'm supposed to see God in it at every turn. So me going to the Sea of Galilee was to remind me of that, to refresh myself of that. It is all under control, that He does have it. It's just as clear as that fresh water that I saw.
You're Our Unity, hosted by LaShawn Walker, Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. PST.
Welcome everyone to You're Our Unity, a show that wishes to spread a spirit of peace and love in the world, one conversation at a time. We want to encourage you to reach out to your dad or that father figure in your life and share with them how important they are and what they mean to you and all of what they've added to your life, what they've instilled in you, what they've poured in you, more importantly, the values that they've taught you. I am your host, LaShawn Walker. I'd like to welcome you in. Please like, share, and follow. Let everyone know that we're on right now. Please tag a friend. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you had a wonderful day. There's so much stuff going on outside in the world, but I hope that you guys are enjoying just the beautiful weather. I hope that you are prepared for what is about to happen this month. I know everyone is enjoying the super seniors out there that are graduating, and I hope that you have some amazing youth in your life that you're pouring into right now. I've been doing the same, marking my calendars with celebrations and parties and barbecues and community events. And I'm so excited about everything that June has to offer. So I hope you guys are out there expressing the best of yourself through activity. Have fun, share some time with your family and friends, and get ready for next weekend, which is Father's Day. As I mentioned, we want to spend some time with them. If you don't have a father figure in your life, if your dad is no longer here, I pray that you spend some quiet moments remembering all of the wonderful times that you guys had together. Remember the blessings that your father actually instilled in you, and all of the just greatness that he wanted for you. Spend some time, remember those times. And if you don't have such a great relationship with your father or the father figure in your life, I think right now is the time to start it. It's never too late. Heal old wounds, forgive and forget, and just move forward. We have a world that we need to change. So I hope that you men out there and you young ladies as well is out there doing that. So as I mentioned, I'm sure everybody has been busy. Every weekend, LaShawn is busy. And this past weekend, I didn't disappoint. Actually, I believe it was last week. I was very, very busy. This weekend kind of was chill for a little while. But on Thursday of last week, I had the honor of participating in an event that just really warmed my heart. So I want to share that with you guys right now. So this week in Unity in the community, I was at Elmont Memorial High School. I love that school. But this time I was there to participate in their awards program. Our Unity had the honor of donating what I'm going to call from now on the Sandy Cabrera Scholarship to Mirror Empowerment, so that they can share that with one of the amazing young men that is off to college actually in a couple of months. Mirror Empowerment, is a youth empowerment program organization, and they just support all the kids in the community, serving the community, and who are excelling in the community. And so I was so grateful that you guys out there donated to the Your Our Unity Prom Just Drive, and we were able to contribute some money to this young man, Terrell Lewis. So that is me waiting for the seniors to come come into the building. They were so excited to sit in the audience. So many kids received so many awards. I think every kid that was there actually received an award, and some of them multiple awards. We had Mira Empowerment introducing Kit Celine, my beautiful queen there, introducing the recipient to the audience of the Your Unity Scholarship Award, and that is him, Terrell Lewis. He is a remarkable young man. He's doing such great things in the community. He excels in his academics. He excels in his athletics. He excels in everything that he's doing, and I'm so proud of him, and I'm so glad that we were able to contribute to the greatness that we eventually see. So I just want to take a moment and thank everyone who contributed to the Your Unity Prom Just Drive. Your donations were greatly appreciated. They went towards a wonderful, wonderful cause, and we'll be doing this again next year. So please, guys, look out for me because your school could very well be next. So it's all about value. And you see, I don't think I mentioned, but Terrell was part of the Men of Elmont mentoring program, which is a fabulous program ran by principal, the amazing principal, Mr. D. He's leaving this year, but the program will still continue. And Terrell just graduated and is sort of moving on now, but he definitely enjoyed the program immensely. He loved everything that the program taught him and the values that it instilled in him. And most importantly, he loved the support that he got from his fellow man. Sometimes it's hard for men to connect with each other. And, you know, a lot of guys right now, especially teenagers, could be following in the way of, I say, the dodo, doing things that they shouldn't be doing, jail and in the streets and not going to school and just not wanting to be the best that they can be. But this program that began with Mr. D, who they affectionately called Doc, just instilled such, you know, just wonderful, you know, values and what life is going to be like and what you have to do, how you have to stand up to make the change that you want in this world, and how they are important. They are kings, and that all they have to do is just put their mind to something, and there's nothing in the world that they cannot achieve. So that's what I enjoyed about that ceremony. It's the values that I saw every last one of those students have. And that's what we need to be teaching and pouring into them. So we're going to speak to a young man today who I think is just valuable in who he is, but just more important that he wants to instill these values, not only in his community, but also his new child that he just had. He is a proud father, and he just wants to continue to just instill the greatness that he knows this child is and everyone else in the community is. And he wants to be that voice for those young people that are out there right now that need some type of direction. So I want to introduce you to this valuable man. His name is Marvin Amazan. He is a visionary leader, born to Haitian immigrants and raised on Long Island. Marvin is a digital strategist, entrepreneur, coach, advocate, and proud father. His education and upbringing has enabled him to become a powerful force in bridging the generational gap and transforming neighborhoods into communities. As a man of the people and a heart for society, Marvin sits on numerous community boards and organizations. He is an avid advocate for fixing the socioeconomic state of disenfranchised areas, which he believes can be turned into thriving and empowered communities through outreach, communication, and social programs. Marvin's firm focus on engagement, education, and opportunity has made him a game changer in his field. He is the chief founder and CEO of Wolfpack United, a highly respected social impact agency, and Amazan Strategies, a premier consulting firm providing community outreach, digital marketing, public relations, and political strategy solutions. Marvin believes in guiding organizations of all sizes across various industries towards their road to success. His story is that of inspiration, resilience, and impact. and he continues to make an amazing difference in the lives of others every single day. Please help me welcome the amazing Mr. Marvin Amazan. How are you, my friend?
I'm doing well. I'm doing well. Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. You know I've been trying to get you here for some time.
For those of you who don't know, she's been trying to get me on here for a while. It's been a long time.
Yes, indeed. When I first met you, you truly inspired me. First of all, I was new to sort of like the political arena, and I was learning, and I saw that every event and everywhere I was, you were there. And as I got to know you, and as we got to build together, I learned so much from you, and it made me even more passionate to stay engaged in community and to be a part of the community political landscape. So I appreciate you, my friend. I know it took forever for me to get you here, but I am so glad that you are here, because I know there's so much for you to say, so much for you to share, and for you to say as well. So let's just get to it.
All right,
That's what I'm talking about. So again, thank you. I always ask my guests before I begin to tell us a little about your upbringing, your childhood. So you want to take us back? You said you're a child of Haitian immigrants?
Yeah. So Caribbean parents, of course. Upbringing was much like everybody else who has Caribbean parents. Definitely a stricter household than many others. But my parents were also very understanding as well.
Oh, okay.
They always looked out for our best interest, even though if we didn't know it ourselves,
Right.
they were always doing what was best for us. There was maybe some times where they didn't quite understand what journey I was on or what exactly I was doing, but they still had my back and was always there to support me.
Right.
So I always appreciate that. I have two brothers, one older brother, my role model himself, and my younger brother is, again, my role model. They're all doing great, fantastic things and on their journeys in life. And, we're all in it together, and we're all here to support each other. So I guess, we came from a family that was very loving together. And that was my dad and my mom's biggest thing, right? To show love to each other, to make sure you know family, and to extend that love to others.
Yes, so, I love that. So you had that support from the very beginning then.
Yes.
Were you aware, even back then, how important that was? Because again, you said you've had these ideas. I'm sure you probably knew when you were a little kid what you aspired to be as you grew up. But did you know how important it was growing up, what that meant?
I'm going to say yes and no, right? I knew that you needed love, but I didn't understand the kind of love that my parents were giving me, right? So some might look at it as tough love. Some might look at it as not understanding, not caring, or anything like that. But that it was completely opposite of that. And looking back at it now, it was very important to my upbringing, right? Yes. To where I am now. I could say full-heartedly that I would not be where I am now had it not been for my parents and how they helped me.
I love that. It's so funny to me how, when we're children and we're going through it, it's like our parents don't know anything. We are in control of our feelings, our emotions, what we want to do, and our parents don't get it. But it does. We have to turn into adults before we realize that everything they're trying to protect us from, guide us through, and teach us is definitely for our good. So I'm glad that you say that. And I hope that you kids out there listening hear it as well, what he's saying. So your parents, very beneficial in your path. Absolutely. I love that. So when did you have this voice? Because you're an advocate through and through. You care about the people, you care about society, you care about change. So where did that come from?
That's tough to say. I guess I always had this voice inside of me, just wanting to inspire people to be their better selves. Looking back at it now, I think about it, actually just came from a wrestling ceremony for some of our county wrestlers for this year. But I guess sports had something to do with that as well.
Okay.
Coming up, just kind of being one of the more vocal people on the team, and like if there was somebody that's down or they just lost a tough match, kind of just being there to support them in any way that I can. So I would say that, I guess it is ingrained in me. And I guess I get it from my parents as well, right? Just kind of watching them in their everyday interactions, whether it's with friends, with family, with community members, with just their community itself. They always wanted to do more for people and kind of give back. So I guess that's where I get it from.
I love that. I love that. Well, Father's Day is coming, and I know you're a new dad, and I just love the excitement that you showed on social media when you became a dad, and just, the feeling that I'm sure that you had even discovering that you were going to become a dad, because I know you did not take it lightly. I know that you're looking at this now as a mission that has to be completed within you, whatever you started. So tell me a little about looking at your dad when you were younger. I mean, I get that they instilled these wonderful qualities in you, but did you at that time realize what the role of an actual man and a father was and should be at that time? Did he teach you those things, speak those things?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it was clear and apparent when I did something wrong, what the role of my father was at the time too. And he played a lot of different roles, professor, disciplinary, friend, family. Just to give you a little background, I don't call my father dad or father or anything like that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we call him Fwem.
And what's that mean?
In Haitian Creole, it means brother.
Wow.
Yeah, so with my dad, it was always where he did play the disciplinary as well. He also played my best friend, my brother. Right. So I'm not for I didn't go to him for everything, but for the most part, I felt very comfortable going to him anytime I had a problem or anything like that. So yeah, he definitely did show me, and I'm gonna elaborate on that as well, because what you said earlier, for those who don't have a father figure or somebody like that in their lives, I think that, in some kind of way we all do, right? Because I think that my idea of a father now, it grew from the fundamentals was my father. Right. But my coaches, my teachers, just different people in the community that kind of showed me, hey, this is the way they treated me with such love, compassion, caring about what I did, making sure I wasn't in the street at certain times, and just caring for me in that kind of way kind of formed and formulated my idea of the perfect father. Yeah, no, I love that. And I think it is so important that young men, as well as women, but young men have these type of mentors in their life, these father figures, whether they're biological or not. Absolutely. Uncle, grandfather, your mom's best friend who happens to be a guy, someone who can teach them the fundamentals of being a man, because I know that women say we can, but only to I really, really, truly feel only to a certain level, a certain extent. So you knew what that role was immediately by, obviously, how do you say that word? Watching your father, you call him Flem. Yes. So watching him and observing everything that he did, not only for your family, but the community as well. As you're now growing up and you're a teenager, you're going through the same pains and the same changes that every teenager goes through. How did you not sort of get off track of what your father's expectations, your community expectations, or even your expectations were? Because I know it's hard. So I'm not a perfect human. I don't think there's anybody really who's a perfect human. True. So I did get off track. Okay. There's that's the story. Yeah, there's obstacles. Listen, the world's not perfect. Life's not perfect. You have your battles, your struggles, your obstacles, but I mean that's what makes you who you are. Yeah. Right. So I think it was just the fact that the way, and I call it my community. Right. Right. And that's my parents, that's my dad, my coaches, all the community members that I talked about, how they were able to move me back into that right direction, right? And I think it came from the start, because anybody could have tried to do that, right? Yeah. I'm doing it every day, trying to guide people back into like that pathway, right? The path that we see for them, or the path that we know they can take, right? So it's tough, but because of the relationships that I had with those different individuals, especially my father, was the reason why I was able to continue and get back on track. Right. If there's anything I say, is it's not about how you get there, it's about the fact that you get to where you're supposed to be. Exactly. I love that. So it wasn't an easy road. You did have a few obstacles that you had to overcome. And I love that you decided to have these mentors, these male figures in your life kind of guide you around the nonsense. Absolutely. Now,
were you interested in that time? Because I know you had friends, you know, that you were messing up with. And did you bring them along with you? Did you try to kind of guide them in the same direction that you were going?
Yeah, I think I was fortunate enough to have some friends that are very like-minded and similar, right? So although we were knuckleheads at some point in time, it wasn't like we were doing anything really crazy. They had similar upbringings, and they were able to. I mean, in their teenage years, you're just a rebel, right? No matter what anybody say to you, I don't care. I'm gonna do it. Like you said, I know everything. I'm the best. I've been on here for I've been on this earth for 16 years. And now I know what's left and what's right, right? But that's not typically the case. True. So we worked as a unit, and it wasn't even my friends are actually sometimes my parents. Like, I don't do that. I'm even their parents sometimes. I don't do that. We're not doing that. So it was like I was fortunate enough to have that support system and that family and that community around me as well.
I love that. So when did you get passionate about sort of bringing everyone along now? Because again, you got your core friends, and I'm sure you spoke power into them. And look, this is what we have to do. We are kings. This is not what we're running around the streets doing nothing, not producing and living of value. So when did you become that voice for the community? Like, how did you become Marvin Amazan?
Oh man, that's a tough one. But when I think about it, so I was doing similar, like, all right, so I guess it goes back to when I started Wolfpack United, right? And that was kind of me coming to a realization that, there's a lot of things in this world that like typically show the communities I'm from in a negative light, or just say that nothing good comes from this area, or when you say you're from a certain town or something like that, people are like, oh, you grew up there or something like that, and that wasn't the case for me. Like I'm like, oh, and I'm from Uniondale, New York, born and raised, black and gold, got my gold shoes on right now, you know what I'm saying? But that's not what I saw for Uniondale. I started off on a journey to find those people, to make those connections, to really highlight, the good stuff that were happening in the community, or make bridge the gap, right? Be that connection to the resource, to the people, because it was a time and place that we needed it. One of my biggest inspirations, and my son's middle name is Ermias, for Nipsey Hussle. Okay. Man, Nipsey was doing some great, phenomenal things from his community, where he believed that, there was change to be made, and he felt like that change agent to do it. And just kind of looking at him and seeing where he came from and his background propelled me to do what I wanted to do. And it wasn't an easy journey. It started off just me kind of figuring out, getting into certain doors, figuring out certain things, and then building from that. But what the nail in the coffin for me was the passing or the killing of George Floyd. Let's not mix it up at all. It was the killing of George Floyd. For 7 minutes, we watched this guy. Don't even want to talk about it because it really brings up some difficult things within me. But for 7 minutes, you watch the guy with the knee on this guy's neck, and to know that at this point, I'm not even a father, right? But to think about like every person with our skin complexion that has to go through that, right? It was a trigger for me, and like everybody else, we got up and I felt like there was something more that we could be doing. So I guess that was when this whole journey started out for me, and it's been everywhere, right? Like you said, you see me everywhere. It's very tiring, but I still do it because there's much change that needs to be done. Not me, who's gonna do it? That's my mentality, right? It's not me, who's gonna do it.
No, I totally get that, and you're absolutely right. What did you see, before the George Floyd incident? Killing, murder. What did you see prior to that in Uniondale and maybe even the surrounding, or just Nassau in general, that needed the most attention and that you felt needed to be exposed, and sort of maybe people your age, because you're young, you're not this older person that's just sitting around and I have time on my hands, I'm just going to get into politics. Like, you're young. So what did you see that kind of sparked it?
So, I mean, and you're saying before George Floyd's time.
Like, what was it in your community that you was like, you know what, this can't keep going on?
Well, it was for the most part, it's the media. Media. Click. Guy gets stabbed. Click. Guy gets shot. Click. Stealing. Click. And I'm like, yo, that's not what my community is about. You have a lot of different musicians, a lot of different entrepreneurs, a lot of people just doing great things, but they're
Yes.
doing it behind the scenes and you don't really hear about it.
Right.
So that was the shift for me. It was like, I'm walking through my streets and I'm like, hey, how's it going? You doing some great stuff. Hey, how's it going? You doing some great stuff. And then when I go outside of the community, it's like, oh, you're from here?
Yeah.
You're from here? And I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not what it was. So I wanted to change that. So
Yeah.
anything that I could do, whether it's to make connections or whether it was to lift somebody up into the light so that they can be seen and their story can be told, that's pretty much what it was.
I love it.
In terms of politics, though, I can't say my dad is heavy in politics.
Okay.
Which is weird. Which to me, he was so heavy in politics that I actually was almost sworn off politics. Like, I was like, I'm not even gonna, I will never even never say never. Never
Yes,
say never
that's
because
right.
you never know. But it was when we started to figure out what we could do after the passing of George Floyd.
Right.
I got together. Well, we came together with a group called the Tribe Council.
Okay.
And we were like, what's the first thing what can we do?
Right.
Like, there's a lot of policy stuff. We don't really know policy and stuff like that. There's a lot of other things that we really don't know about, but something tangible we can do right now is to clean up our community.
Yeah.
Right. Very simple.
Yeah.
Very simple. A lot of people litter. A lot of people just don't care about where they come from. And if you don't care about it, how do you make other people care about it?
Yeah.
So we wanted to show people that, we're here, we're doing good things, we care about our community, we want our community to be beautiful like every other community around us.
That's right.
You know, so let's do something about it. So we started some cleanups. We had a couple of Hempstead, Uniondale, Roosevelt, different areas, and just kind of cleaning up the community.
Love it.
Gets better though.
Okay.
It's like we were like, yeah, we were having a good time, but we were reaching out to our elected officials and everybody for some support. Like, can we get some trash bags? Like, we're doing this out of our back pocket or donations from off the street. Can we get some trash bags or something like that? And cricket, nothing really. So I was like, what's the next step to do? Let me go use my loud mouth and go speak somewhere. So went out to the town board meetings and started making some noise. And after that, it was history.
Wow.
You see me at town board meetings.
That's right.
I know we had the redistricting meeting going out to talk about that.
Yeah.
And it just showed me how important it is to really use your voice.
Yes.
And to be that agent of change.
Yeah.
And to really make that difference within your community.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. And you growing up in the same community, from what I understand,
Yep.
since you were young,
Yep.
you've seen the changes or lack thereof for your whole entire life.
Absolutely.
So I know that it had to get frustrating at a certain point to see that no one was there voicing, that the needle needed to move, that things needed to change, and that there are people out here that want to support that change.
Absolutely.
So you kind of rallied the people with your voice, and so you moved into this political sphere.
Yep.
And how do you like it? I mean, what do you think? What are you doing?
It's a love-hate relationship for me.
Okay.
I love making the connections with the people and really changing people's minds, because let's be serious. In politics, the Black community, the minority community, most of the time, we're jaded.
Yeah.
So it's hard. It's hard to tell people to care about something where they don't actually see the effects immediately.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to do that. So I mean, that's the tough part.
Yeah.
But I love seeing a change.
Yeah.
I love seeing more representation. I love seeing people who might not look like us, but that actually care about the topics that we're talking about and bringing things to the table that are actually going to make some significant change within our community. Yeah. So it is a love-hate relationship. It's a 24-hour job.
Yes.
With all my other jobs that I do, but it's something that I feel like once you get the bug, it's
you can exactly. It's a labor of love right now, and plus the stakes are too high.
Exactly.
What you have to lose is just too much, and so you don't want to, sit on your laurels and just assume that someone else is going to take up that charge, because it's not necessarily so. So I love that fact that you're speaking to the problem and that you want to be the agent for change. I had the honor and blessing of listening to you at I think it was a board meeting. And you passionately spoke at this meeting and was unable to attend, but I knew it was you. And I'm sitting there, I'm listening, and you're saying how you've lived in this community all your life. And, people say that they're going to do this, and the politicians say they're going to do that. And they come in when it's this time of year. And then when things need to be done, they're nowhere to be found. And I know that you're tired of that. And you want to be able to be the forefront of the voice, the people that you can rally behind you to stand up to these very same people that are not trying to make these changes. So it was important to you that something be done because you now have a child that you're raising. So tell me about that moment and that even that feeling. You're a father now, and you're seeing right now where this world is, where it's going, and how you're raising your son in that right now. So tell me about what you were feeling at that moment when you were giving that speech.
Yeah, I believe that was the Nassau County redistricting meeting. Pretty much, for those of you who don't know, it's when they redraw the maps, right? And the word that you probably hear a lot when you hear redistricting is gerrymandering, right? How they're trying to cut us up into little places or pack us up into other districts and stuff like that. But 10 years ago, they went through the same process.
Okay.
And 10 years ago, they pretty much gerrymandered and packed and cracked us into different locations. And to stand here, and I was in high school at the time, and to stand here now 10 years later, and it seems like, or the map's already out,
right,
they did the same thing.
Wow.
And it's even worse now, right? So it's like at that moment, I'm sitting there, and I wanted to let them know that, you know, your decisions today are not just going to affect, or they probably won't even affect you because you're probably 60, 70-year-olds that are up there in the next 10 years. Who knows where you're going to be?
Exactly.
But my son is now 16 months,
wow,
right? And he'll have to deal with the repercussions of your decisions for the next 10 years.
Yeah.
So I wanted them to know that they would have a real opportunity to do something that's never been done on Long Island.
Yeah.
Which is do the right thing.
Yeah.
Do the right thing for the community and for the people who live in Nassau County.
Yeah.
So that's I hope I got that across to them. It doesn't seem like it got across because they did what they choose to do anyway.
Right.
But we're working on it.
Yeah, that's right. You're not going to stop.
Absolutely.
And that's the bottom line. You have a child that now you're raising for a better tomorrow.
Absolutely.
So you, I'm sure, are not going to stop putting in that work.
Yeah, and I want to talk to a little bit to that. But like I said, I've been doing this work for, I think, 5 years now. This is like just advocating super hard and just making sure that certain things get done. But the pressure that I feel now
right,
is way more than the pressure that I felt before. Yeah. And I mean, it was self-proposed pressure.
Yes.
I put the pressure on myself, said, hey, I'm gonna champion this issue and we're gonna run with it.
Right.
But now it's even more meaningful and even more impactful.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we, I'll give this a perfect example. I don't want to, but I know I will have to, right? I don't understand, or I understand why I have to tell my son, if a cop pulls up behind him to act a certain way, if he pulls you over to talk a certain way, right? Yeah. In a perfect world, in an ideal world, I don't want to have to teach my son that.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to have to teach my son, or my son shouldn't have to go to town board meetings, to any meetings like that, to advocate for things that is a right to him.
Exactly.
Is a right
to
him, right? So this work now, I feel like I have 3 worlds on my shoulder now as I walk. My shoulders are often like this as I'm walking around because of how heavy it feels.
Yeah.
Because everything we do today impacts the next generation.
Yes.
Every little
everyone
thing
and your great grandchildren. Yes. Yeah.
Talking about the future. There's no future for them if we don't create it.
Exactly.
There is none. So this work to me now, I'm in this for a long haul now, you know, I was in this for the long haul, but it's now even more important to me. It's more meaningful to me, the work that I do.
Yeah. This is life or death for you now, because you can't leave here without leaving some value to this world and leaving that with your son so that he can continue that same mission. Just like you said, your father, he was in politics. You didn't think you were going to get into politics. Now look at you, man.
My father, my uncle.
Come on.
I should have known.
Thank you. So it's not going to, I'm sure it's not going to fall deaf on your son's ears either, that he will be that person that's out there sort of, you know, being that agent for change as well. And it'll just be a different issue. The bottom line is
that's what we hope.
Yeah.
That's what we hope.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a different issue. This right here has to stop. And with people like you and with the people behind you and all the other communities out there that are doing this same exact work, it is going to change. And like you mentioned, because I say it all the time, these 60, 70, 80-year-olds that have made these rules, that have not been voted out of these positions, that are standing their ground with that same antiquated mentality, unfortunately, they're going to go. They're going to die. They're going to leave. And we're hoping that the generation behind them are a little smarter, that they see what's going on in the world, and those ideals and those thoughts no longer are valid here in this type of world. And so therefore they make, they reach out to the people like you and want to really speak and make those changes and hear us out and what we're asking for. So what are the changes, before we go deep into, you being a father, what type of changes would you like to see, not just in your community, but for the communities around the world that are just like yours?
I'm gonna use the hot word. The hot 3 letters.
Okay.
Right. Diversity, equity, and inclusion on all aspects, in all industries, in all playing fields, everywhere.
Yeah.
Right. And I guess we'll talk about some of the stuff that I do with my other organizations, but I think that's what we need in order to progress as a humankind. Yeah. Right. I say this all the time. I said, this is my little story, right? What's the Back to the Future.
Right.
Back to the Future, right? I believe it was 20, I can't remember right now, but let's say 2020. Flying cars everywhere. Yeah. Flying cars everywhere. Here we are in 2023 and there's no flying cars. I mean, they drive themselves a little bit, but they're not flying. Yeah, they're right? Coming though. And my explanation for that is that there's a little boy, a girl, a little brown or black or Hispanic girl in Unadale, Hempstead, Freeport, Wyandanch, and those areas that had the idea, they had the capacity to build it because they don't have the resources. They don't have the backing. They don't have that community support. They're not able to put those ideas into reality. Right. So we're essentially holding ourselves back as people just by being not equitable, right? Not inclusive and not diverse at all. If we think about the way technology is made, or if we get into these creative spaces, or when we look at the creative industries, it's everybody's minds together that come up with, or the fact that everybody is together in this room bouncing ideas off each other is how all of these tremendous or creative or advances happen. Right. So if we're secluding certain people who might have the key to success, then we'll never get to success. No, you're absolutely right. So I think that we definitely need more diversity, equity, and inclusion on all platforms. Yeah, on all fronts. I totally agree with that. And I want to get to the point where we're not even saying those things, that it's just a given. Like, that's what we need to be striving for right now. Like, why do we even have to put things in categories? And it's just unnecessary. But now you're a father. You're a proud, happy father. What were your expectations when you found out you were going to be a father? What was that feeling like when you found out that you're about to be a dad? And I know you said wait, but tell me about the feeling. So there was a lot of emotions, honestly. But one of the biggest emotions that I had was, I'm gonna say I was nervous. Okay. I was nervous. Okay. Being a black man in America. Yeah. Raising another black boy, literally a man in America. Yeah. Right. What can I do to position him to be as successful as possible? Yeah. Right. Maybe there's something in my background or something I didn't know, but that might trigger me in any ways. Right. And how do I suppress those or deal with those situations so that I could be a better father to him? Right. Right. And just everything that takes that has in it. Right. Am I going to be able to talk to him the way I need to talk to him? We had plug the Urban League. We had at the Urban League of Long Island, we had a Mind Matters event. Right. And somebody said something very interesting during the panel discussion. And they were like, so your son falls and now he's crying, right? Right. What do we all say sometimes? Oh, you're okay, get up. You're all right, you're all right, it's fine. Don't worry. And in reality, what are we really priming them for, right? To be emotionless, right? To be the strong man. But that's not the way. There's much other ways to do that, right? Instead, let's have them be in tune with their emotions. Hey, what's going on? Yeah. Are you okay? Yeah. Like that's the better way to go about it than forcing them to be like, all right, exactly. Like toughen it up. Exactly. It's not. So kind of figuring out those things. I did a lot of research and watched a lot of videos to just make sure I was prepared myself, because there's a lot of struggles you go through with yourself, right? And you have to be okay and one with yourself in order to mold another mind and another person to be in that perfect person so that they're not fractured or broken at any point in time.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I love the fact that you're actually open to receiving new information and new
Absolutely.
ways of sort of parenting and being a man and teaching your son how to be a man, because not a lot of people want to do that. It is, you know, this is sort of the blueprint that I had. I'm going to make a few tweaks here and there, but for the most part, I am fine. And you do, as you get older and as you become a more evolved man, you do realize there are things that you need that you did not receive. And maybe you need to seek those things so that you can help the next generation, your son, and also your community. So I love that you're open to that, because I think that that's what a lot of men need right now, especially to become well-rounded men, not just for the children, but for the women and whoever else they have to deal with. You know what I mean? So I love that you said that. So now you're raising him, and your expectations obviously is just to make sure that you're just preparing the world around him to be, you know, this place that he can enjoy living in. Tell me a little about like the process of or the thought of what your future or his future is going to be, and what kind of changes do you think this world needs like immediately? And I know that's a lot to ask you, but I'm just saying it is. But it's only because I know you're visionary, you know, so I know that there's already this vision. So just share with us that vision.
I think that for the world itself right now, I think that they need to have a better realization, right? I think you said something that rings in my ear right now, but to prepare the world for my son.
Yeah.
That I like that. I love what you said just now, because that's essentially what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Every time I look into that boy's eyes, I know he's gonna do great stuff.
Yeah.
I know it. Just the smile on his face, his bright eyes. I know he's gonna do great stuff. So just kind of preparing them. They have to understand that, you know, just because I'm darker than you doesn't mean that, you know, I'm a thug or I have bad things on my mind. You don't have to walk across the street because I'm walking in the same direction that you're walking in, right? Like it just doesn't make sense. So kind of preparing their mindsets to change. I think if we start with changing people's mindsets and having them understand being just having them understand, you know, that we're all essentially the same.
Yeah.
We're all essentially the same.
Yeah.
So once that happens, then, you know, I think he'll be better off, a little better off than we were.
Right.
You know, so I think that's the first step, and yeah, just continue to advocate for all the things that we need.
Yeah, I think that's basically it, and I think that's really important. Share with me too, like how important it is to have that strong father role model in your life, especially for these little kids right now that are growing up maybe without a father, who are growing up, you know, that don't know or have people in their ears supporting and sharing with them the things that they need to do at a traffic stop, or, you know, how to excel in school. Like, how important is that?
It's very important. Mentorships, and I'm gonna just say it like mentorships, right, are like one of the things we need to do more of as a community. Mm-hmm. Just because your father may not be in your life, or you may not have the best relationship with your father as well, doesn't mean that you don't have father figures in your life. Mm-hmm. Like I said, my coaches were a big tribute to what I do. Right. You know, like they have instilled in me this go get them, go hard, you know what I mean, mentality that is part of who I am today. So I would say that is very, very important. I'll just give you a little story. A couple weeks ago, I was in one of the communities that I do work in, and I kind of walked by somebody. He's like, "You don't remember me?" I'm like, "No, I don't remember you." Like, yeah, I don't want to ski. You know, all the kids wear ski masks nowadays. I'm like, "I don't know who you are in a ski mask, man. Take the mask down. Take the mask down." Take it down, and it's one of my old wrestlers. Aww. He ends up getting displaced and was moved around. You know, situation was it as perfect, or everybody has their own circumstances that cause them to be in certain places. But in that moment, right, I could look at him and tell he was down. Right. I could tell he was down, and he needed somebody to talk to him or to show him another direction, right? And had I not walked to that community
Yes. Yeah.
that day,
Yeah.
who knows what could have happened, but we ended up meeting up, talking about it, and I'm trying to get him on another track and really
Wow.
doing something different. But that's just one. I'm just
Yes.
one person that does that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And if everybody, or if you had the time, because I know we all in meetings,
We
we all
all
got this
busy.
and work and
Exactly.
everything and whatever, but it takes like an hour a day or hour a week,
Mhm.
2 hours a month or something like that in order to make that connection and take
Yeah.
somebody from being in a messed up situation
Yeah.
to being successful, right? I can't wait till the day I get a call from him and he's like, yo, that was the best thing in my life that you walked past me that day.
Yes, it was
The
meant
best
to
thing in
be.
my life.
That was meant to be
So
that moment.
that goes to show that it might not be a mother figure, it might not be anybody else or a family member, but somebody that really cares, that wants to see you do something. That means a lot to a little boy. I know to me, anytime somebody was like, yeah, you did a great job, or even if I was doing something horrible, or like, let's say I just lost a match, got beat, I got beat, smoked, all of that.
Just the support still.
Yeah, it allows me to pick myself up and to keep going.
Yeah, no, I get
so
it.
it definitely is very important having that figure.
I love it. I love it. Well, look, we're winding down in time. I know that you just got appointed this amazing position here in Long Island. Share with us real quick, what is the Urban League of Long Island?
So the Urban League of Long Island is a legacy organization. There's where on Long Island, we're one of the affiliates of the National Urban League.
Okay.
And we try to empower communities of color, right? And do social programs, just advocacy, and all of that stuff. I'm the project director for the state of Black Long Island, which to me is like it's a heavy title, but it's like the work is so important, right? What we do is we work on securing social, political, and economic equity for all Black residents on Long Island. So we have a bunch of different action teams, and on those action teams we work on a bunch of different initiatives, put programs together and policies. We have we also have a equity report that's coming out. Our next one, I'll invite you to the event.
Yes,
our
please.
next event is going to be, or the event for the release is going to be September 18th.
Okay.
And in that report, it talks about all of the disparities that are happening on Long Island. And I can't give away too much information, but whatever you're feeling is what's happening.
I believe me.
What's happening.
I believe it. I believe it.
We have a lot of work to be done. But with organizations like the Urban League, NAACP, and all the other different civic organizations or nonprofits that are on Long Island, I believe it's going to get done. But one thing I'm trying to do in my position here is to make sure that we have more collaboration and communication.
Yes.
Because we're all doing some great, phenomenal stuff.
Yeah.
But imagine if we all did it together.
Yep.
Imagine if we all did it together.
Because we're really, honestly, at the core, we're all doing it for the same reason.
Yep.
It's just that we're moving out with different missions,
Absolutely.
But if we come together, that and your mission, my mission, everyone's mission will be accomplished with the same goal in mind.
And it's about helping each other, right?
Yeah.
So what I try to do is partner and grab people from different organizations that are doing the similar work, right? Whether it's in education, health, housing, economics, policy, and advocacy, and put them on the action team so that, if you're working on something. I had a meeting with the Women's Diversity Network, who is working on maternal health, right? So that's part of our Long Island Healthy Communities Initiative, right? So partnering with them to make what they're doing even stronger and bringing that to our community and our network.
Oh, wow. That is so cool. So you're doing some really, really big, and bringing everyone in.
Absolutely.
And I think that's really important. It's not just now you relegated to your community. Yeah. You are branching out and you're building bridges with all of these different organizations to basically just counter one cause. And that is the diversity, the inclusivity, and just pouring the resources and the tools into the communities. I love it. I really, really do. Well, we're winding down in time, as I mentioned earlier, but I don't want to go before really digging deep into just your feeling as a father. What is the best thing about you being a father? And before I even begin to go into that, I forgot to mention what the title of the show is. And it is The Mind of a Man, the Faith of a Father. Speak to me. Look at those two amazing pictures. Let me tell you, what were you thinking even when you took those pictures, my friend? Because they are fit for that title.
I think that was on my birthday. And my son was born at the time.
Wow.
So kind of thinking about, what's the next phase of Marvin?
Right.
right? What does this next chapter look like? And how do I make sure that I'm successful in everything that I'm doing? Because it's going to impact my son in such a important way.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just kind of thinking about that stuff. That's exactly what's going through my head. I can remember that to this day. It was just last year, but I can remember that because every time I think about my son, it's emotional, right?
Yeah.
You said what's my favorite part of fatherhood, or what makes it all worth it?
Mm-hmm.
Is that I'm very busy. I'm very busy, right? But the one thing that I try to do and always try to do is make sure I get home before my son gets to bed.
I love that.
And I tell you, I can feel it right now, and I'm excited. I'm excited to go home now because I know the type of reception I'm gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
Right, where he's running now, not walking,
Wow,
he's running now.
nice.
And every time that door opens up, his head pops up, that smile and just the happiness and joy, that black boy joy, that's a real thing.
Yes.
It's a real thing.
I know.
Like, you see it in his face that he's happy to see me. And I'm like, oh, wait.
Yeah.
Wait, he's never been this happy to see me before. Oh man, thank you. You know, so it's a fulfilling moment for me every time.
Yeah, no, I could imagine, and just hoping that moment continues throughout his life, and
Absolutely.
that joy and that relationship, I think is so important as well, because I know, children start off and they're loving their fathers, and their fathers are the best thing in their world, but as soon as they get expectations, their feelings, their emotions come out, then their father, again, as I said earlier, don't know what they're talking about. But I know because of what you see in yourself and what you're trying to put into him, that he's always going to have that reaction when you walk through the door, because you're putting in the work right now. You're not just laying on your laurels to just say, I'm raising a son, I got a kid, and going to work and coming home. Like, you are really making your life a mission right now to ensure that he has a better one as well. So I think that's so important. So tell me, share with the viewers, what is on your mind? What do you think is important that we know? What do we need to learn from Marvin Amazan?
Oh man, I mean, you can learn everything by going on to the Urban League website. Let me plug in the Urban League real quick. I'm plugging everything right now. So the Urban League of Long Island will do a lot of great stuff, as I spoke about before. But our what we do is only as important as the people who are in it. So we're always looking for people to come be part of the Urban League, and especially be part of the state of Black Long Island. Our Equity Council, because like I said, that work that we do today is very important for tomorrow. You can check us out on Wolfpack United, my personal Instagrams and my personal social medias and my website as well. We're continuing to do great things, right? And it's about the connection. So if you have any ideas or anything that you want to throw by, you need some support in any kind of way. I'm also a strategist too. So we do a lot of digital marketing outreach. If you have some resources that you're not really connecting to the demographic or the people that you're looking for, contact me. I'm really on the ground. Like you said, I'm everywhere. I'm in school districts. I'm at churches. I'm everywhere, just trying to make sure that we connect people directly to the resources that we have here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what I want to say. And actually, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this. There's two things.
Yes.
So use your voice.
Yes.
It's important that we understand how powerful our words are and how impactful that they can be. Whether it's at home, whether it's at your workplace, whether it's at the town board meetings, wherever it is. But if there's an injustice happening or just something you don't like, speak up for it. Advocate for yourself, right? Because that's the only way that either somebody knows that something's wrong or that we can have change happen, right? So make sure to use your voice and stand united.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And my other thing,
yes,
I definitely won't let this time go out before I tell you about all of the fantastic things that you are doing.
Oh my God, thank you.
I wanted to let you know that. When we first met, she got a little mad at me because I almost ghosted. I didn't almost ghost her, but I was really busy and campaigning at the time, so I didn't get a chance to connect with you like how we wanted. But once you got connected, you started steamrolling.
Yes.
You started steamrolling. So everything that you do, I've been watching, and every time I see a post come up with another show and everything that you're doing, and you go into the schools and you donating to the kids, you are doing phenomenal things. And I hope that you know every day that the devil is scared when you put your feet down because you are doing some great things.
Thank you
No
so
problem.
much. That's coming from Marvin Amazan. You know that makes my heart sing,
No
my friend. Because no, seriously, I watch you too, and you do. You inspire me, especially when you're so close, you know. And the fact that you're doing such great work right in my own neighborhood, and I see the impact that you're making. I'm honored that you even said that. So thank you, because I am right there with you, whatever you need. And that's what I want to speak to too before we go. What's coming up next for you, for the organization? Where do we need to be? What do we need to do? Don't tell us what to donate or anything, but tell us what's going on.
I won't ask you for any money. I won't do that yet.
Yes.
Or not this time.
Right.
But no, there's a lot of events coming up. One of the biggest events that we have at the Urban League of Long Island is the Sag Harbor event. And that's pretty much just to give you a little history. Back in the day when, you know, we weren't as free as we are now, there was only a select few places that, you know, Black people can go to vacation.
Right.
Sag Harbor happens to be one of those places.
Right.
So people all over the North, I guess, would travel to Sag Harbor to vacation, to have some time, to have some fun with their families. So what we do is every year we have an event over there just to kind of celebrate where we've come and how far we've gone, and just to showcase a little bit of the history.
I love it.
Other than that, September 18th, we're going to be having the equity profile release. That's going to be a big release, very important to everything that we do in Long Island. Urban League is actually on its 50th year. Next year will be the 50th year.
Nice.
So there's a lot of great things happening. Some things I can't talk about yet. I want y'all stealing my ideas now. But you know, there are a lot of great things coming.
Excellent.
For me personally, man, where do I go or where do I start? Right? There's just be on the lookout.
Just be on the lookout.
We're working on a lot of stuff in the background.
Well, you have his information. We had it up. Please reach out to my friend here, Marvin Amazan, and you can reach him. I think we have that real quick before we go, Bobby. Let's see. Yes. www.wolfpackunited.com, and you can email him at info@wolfpack.com, and you can follow him at IG and LinkedIn and Facebook at
absolutely.
Marvin Amazan and Mr. Marvin. All right. Well, I want to get real quick to the Dare to Be You. And the Dare to Be You is try not to become a man of success, but rather to become a man of value. And that is exactly what my friend Marvin Amazan is doing. He is a man of value, and he is sharing his wealth, my friends. He is sharing it with everyone in his community, and he is pouring into his child. I want you guys out there to do the same. It's Father's Day this weekend coming up. Please love on your father. Let them know that you value them and you care for them. And more importantly, your child. Pour into your child. Speak to your child. Instill in them all those wonderful things that you hope they will accomplish when they become that father that you are now. I'd like to thank you guys so much for being here. Marvin, thank you for being here.
No problem.
You are so awesome. You know you're coming back, my friend.
I'll come back.
That's
of course,
right.
Of course.
You know you are. There's so much more to talk about.
There is.
But again, thank you guys so much for being here. Happy Father's Day to all you amazing fathers out there. Happy Father's Day to you. Your first Father's Day. God bless you. I want you guys to have a fabulous and amazing weekend. We will see you next week on Your Unity. Please remember that peace and love is in the palm of our hands. Let's go out there and share some love, give some love, be some love. And more importantly, remember that unity cannot exist without you. Have a wonderful evening. We will see you next week on Your Unity. Say good night, Mr. Amazan.
Good night.
Strong Island Entertainment.